Hi again, folks. I'm Tony. That's the law.
Yo.
We are, yo. And we are Scotch and Sports, Scotch and Sportsin today. Not too much going on in the way of sports, but we do have coming up this weekend Wrestlemania 36, and that's going to be our focus today.
Because it's the only thing on.
That's right. That's the only thing on. Not quite sports, sports entertainment.
Yes.
Uh,
Never forget.
uh, Never forget it is sports entertainment, and certainly don't call it wrestling. Otherwise, Vince McMahon will have your house burned down.
And
It
certainly
is
the only
sports.
thing worse than calling it wrestling is calling it wrastlin', which is what Ted Turner
Yeah.
called it. And then Vince McMahon will
Oh,
have your
oh,
house and your family's houses burned down.
oh, geez. Yeah. Oh. But anyway, I think our focus today. We did a previous episode just on the general concept of given the current climate. Should WrestleMania even be going ahead? But we're going to put that aside and moral arguments aside and just try to focus on the meat, the card, the matches that are going on, and are any of these going to be any good? And what do we have to sift through to get to the golden nuggets? And it should be a lot of fun.
Should be. We are recording this right on the heels of the WrestleMania, I guess, morality concept that we recorded previously and released probably just a few hours ago. So we are still drinking our same Johnny Walker Black. Salut, my
That's
friend.
it. Yep. Salute. Here's to you. Okay.
All right. So, for each match, we're just going to go down the card here as it is currently listed on CBSSports.com. I'm going to call out the match. We're each going to talk briefly about our thoughts. We'll pick a winner. We'll move on. First up, they have listed the Women's Tag Team Championship. It's the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. I like this matchup on paper. They're four. Well, Asuka and Kairi Sane are excellent in-ring workers. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross also very good workers, but also very good at telling the story in the ring. This is one of the ones I look at. I'm actually excited for.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too. The in ring work of all four of these ladies is fantastic. And I expect a match that's definitely going to be in ring entertaining. I don't know that I necessarily want to see the belts come off of the Kabuki Warriors at this point. Nikki Cross is sort of new to the game of belts and championships, but Alexa Bliss, I know that she was on break for a while, but she's had something like, I don't know, 6,000 championships. She's in WWE, and she's like 27 years old, and she's been champion just so many times. And they run the risk of burning her out again. So I'd like to see this program go beyond WrestleMania, drag it out a little bit further. But I'd like to see the Kabuki Warriors come out on top, and then maybe take this out all the way to SummerSlam if they can. Because just the matches the potential number of matches that could be had between these two teams, it just wouldn't get old. I think they could do it time and time again.
So is that your prediction? You're thinking Kabuki Warriors take this one?
Well, that's the thing is, that's what I want to happen. But you never know with the booking in WWE what's going to happen. For all we know, Brock Lesnar is going to come out and win the Women's Tag Team Championship.
Oh God, you're making me think about Money in the Bank again, and I'm getting angry.
That's what I'm trying to do. That's what I was trying to do.
That honestly, I like what your thought process is. What I think is going to happen booking wise is I think Bliss and Cross are going to win, and here's why. Both of the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, are capable of carrying lesser opponents to better matches. That's why some of the best women's matches have been when one of them is paired up with someone that is a very good worker. Asuka versus Charlotte Flair comes to mind there.
Yeah, fantastic match.
Alexa Bliss is always at her best when she's got something to brag about. Like, her time as the women's champion was thoroughly entertaining because she got to go total B on everybody, and it was great, thoroughly entertaining. And she's also at her best when she has somebody to push around, which is how they book Nikki Cross right now. So I think because of those two factors, plus post WrestleMania is when you're going to see a lot more NXT call ups and shuffling of the rosters in prep for SummerSlam. I think Bliss and Cross win simply because they're easier to book as a team right now, and Asuka and Sane lose and then end up getting split up and doing more singles work.
Oh, it's all right. I'm on board. I'm on board. If they did it that way, and that's kind of the direction they went in, I don't think I could be too disappointed about that. Huh?
All right, so next we've got Otis versus Dolph Ziggler. This is really the only match that has had, I'm going to say, like an actual respectable amount of build leading up to WrestleMania. The whole storyline with Mandy Rose being involved and adding actual depth to the Otis character. It seems like it would just be cruel at this point to have Otis lose.
Yeah, I think it would be pretty cruel. I mean, this. I really don't know what to make of this feud, man. This is crazy. What was the CBS was there? They were drawing the comparison between having Mandy Rose and Otis have a Randy Savage and Elizabeth reunion in the ring.
Yeah, I saw that.
Maybe
That's
after having Otis, after having Otis lose, but then like Mandy Rose comes back to him. I was like, oh my god, that would just be so tacky and bad.
Yeah.
And bad. I mean, the Macho Man Elizabeth thing, that was legitimately moving. To harken back to that in that way and sort of make a mockery of it, I don't know if I'd be on board with that. But
it's especially distasteful given that both Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth are no longer with us. Like, this is they can't do that. No, I don't know. I don't know what, because I'm reading the same article you are. I don't know what they're thinking there, but I don't think that's going to happen. I have a sneaky suspicion, though, that we got our good times last year. And this year, when there's no fans there, now obviously the booze and the heat would be welcome, but I think it's, especially given everybody got what they wanted last year. Kofi got to win. Seth Rollins got to win.
So what you're saying is
Becky Lynch got to win. I think that we got our happy WrestleMania. Now it's time to get depressed.
So now it's Brock Lesnar comes out and takes Mandy Rose, is what you're saying.
Oh my God, he could climb to the top of the Performance Center. It would be like Donkey Kong. You know what? You know what? If that actually happens, 5-star match. Done.
Yeah, that's fine. But I don't want to spend too much time on this match because other than that interesting note that I read, I really don't think it's that big of a deal. Just let Otis win. Just let Otis win, please.
Is that your pick? Is that your pick?
That's the pick. Yeah. You got to have some feel good stuff, and if we got to have Goldberg still being champ and Brock Lesnar still being a champ or whatever other crap they're going to do, at least let big old Otis be happy. That's
all right.
My pick.
I'm going to pick Ziggler because I think Vince McMahon is so hurt by the loss of the XFL season that he just wants no one to be happy. All right, so next we've got Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley. Bobby
Am
Lashley,
I the only? Yeah, Bobby Lashley, fine. Aleister Black. But by the way, WWE is doing everything in their power to absolutely waste Black. Could I care any less about this guy at this point? They give him the awesome entrance. They give him this supernatural feel. They give him this vibe of being a badass. And then he gets in the ring and he's just like anybody else. He kicks a lot. He gets kicked a lot. I, uh,
They do. I will say this about Black as a wrestler. He sells his strikes better than anyone that they've brought up through the system. That's for sure. He's
yeah.
very impressive. He does a good job of looking strong, selling the strikes strongly. People that work with him say he's a joy to work with. So he's not he's not throwing potatoes at anybody. So it's good. I think Black's gonna win, but then that brings up the question, like, the hell are they doing with Bobby Lashley? Like they
Well,
just
yeah, I see what you're saying, but and I think we tend to forget because Lashley's such a freaking Adonis, man. The guy's like in impeccable shape, but he's old. He's old. He's an older guy. Lashley's into his 40s now. And this match reeks to me of putting Black over somebody like Lashley. You want him to beat somebody like this, and you want him to beat him decisively, because you want to be able to catapult. Black has kind of been middling, and he's kind of been just hanging around. And like what I said at the outset, I don't care about Aleister Black, but I think they're going to try to pump him up a little bit by having him beat a solid, established name that's been in the business for a long time. So my prediction would be that Aleister Black goes over Lashley in a definitive way. No wishy-washy ending. He beats him right there in the middle of the ring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you. Black, clean, center of the ring, and we move on. Elias versus King Corbin.
Let me ask you something. I've been complaining. I don't know if we talked so little about WWE in our shows so far. I know I've said this to you off air many a time. When they had Baron Corbin for a very long stretch of time, they were just dressing him up like a waiter for some reason. And he was wrestling and he was dressed up like a waiter. I don't know why. If you don't know what I'm talking about or you can't picture what I'm talking about, go back and watch, from like a year or 2 years ago, all the Baron Corbin matches. Now that he's won the King of the Ring, what is that robe and crown? What is he supposed to be? He looks like some sort of like Grand Poobah at a Groundhog Day celebration. What is he wearing?
I don't know, but that's fantastic.
He's wearing like the fur thing, and he's got like the Jesus crown of thorns thing. Like, oh God, what was the match again? Oh, okay, versus Elias, who I think I've seen Elias wrestle twice in the past 6 years because all they ever have him doing is playing the guitar and being entertaining, but
yeah, thoroughly entertaining. Then he gets squashed, and by some run in, and then that's the end of it.
Now this is the feud that has Gronk Smash involved, right?
Yes, and I have
thing with Gronk or something. Yeah.
I have a theory, and this is completely based on A, Gronkowski's sense of humor, and B, just the most cringy thing I've seen him do, which was this past New Year's Eve, when they had him in celebration of the ball dropping.
Yeah.
When they had him spike the big Lego Steve Harvey head, and everyone just got sad when he did it. like whoever wrote that was writing it based on the idea that A, everybody thinks Gronkowski's an idiot and he's willing to play into that, which bless him, he is willing to play into it. Don't hurt me, Gronk. And two, whoever wrote it thought it would be funny, and wow, did that land flat. So here's what I'm thinking is going to happen, based on Gronk previously being willing to do stupid things on air, and make himself look stupid in the process. I think Gronk is going to try to interfere on behalf of Elias, because apparently Gronk's got heat with Corbin. I think he's going to mess it up, screw up Elias, and Corbin wins because Gronk was dumb.
Right. Yeah. If you have, and I agree with that assessment too, because I think if you have Gronk interfere in the match, which I'm scrolling through CBS now again, and it seems like that's what they feel like is going to happen too, that Gronk is going to interfere in the match in some way. If you have Gronk interfere in the match and it works, and Elias picks up the victory, then you kind of kill the feud between Gronk and Corbin, because Gronk already got over. Gronk got the better of him. He through Elias, he sort of wins the feud. The better thing is for what you're saying to happen, where he tries to interfere, he tries to screw up Corbin, and Corbin gets out, comes out on top, and it's a reason to carry the feud forward to the next pay-per-view or whatever you want to do with it. Give yourself some time to get Gronk trained up a little better, I would imagine, if he's going to actually be a wrestler. How much training can Gronk actually have at this point? You put him in the ring with somebody, he's going to kill somebody. I don't know. It all seems kind of strange to me, but I like your assessment, and I'm going to make that, if that's your prediction, I'm going to get on board with that, because I think that's what should happen.
All right. So there we go. Next up, the Raw Tag Team Championship. It's the Street Profits versus Garza and Theory. Should have been Garza and Andrade. If this is the actual order that things are going to happen in, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't care, and I'm going to be in the bathroom. You?
I agree. I don't care so much about this match. I do like the Street Profits, though. I think they're very impressive. And I look forward to seeing what they're going to do in the future. But yeah, to me, this is bathroom match. I don't care about this at all.
Yeah, and I agree with you there on the Street Profits, but there's no way they're losing this. You're not gonna. I mean, you just replaced one of the guys in the other tag team. You're not gonna have those guys go over the new heir apparents of the Raw Tag Team Championship. They just won.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing with, like, somebody gets injured and you have to pull them, and then now the feud is messed up. That's the WrestleMania, a show like WrestleMania or Survivor Series or SummerSlam. That's where you're supposed to have all the blow-offs, the big feuds.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're just like, oh, this guy got hurt, so this one's subbing in, it's a cold match. There's no passion in it. There's no you want to see. You don't want to see. There's no you want to see the guy, the face get over the heel. You don't. None of that exists here. So it's just cold and blah. And the obvious prediction for this match is that the Street Profits win. They're probably going to make it a competitive match, and the Street Profits are just going to win.
Agreed. This match to me is everything that's been wrong with WrestleMania over the past 4 or 5 years, that everybody needs to be involved. Like, you lost one of the guys from the feud. You know what? You don't have to put every single set of belts on the line at WrestleMania, because that's how they end up being 7 or 8 hour shows. Stop it. No one needed to see this. You know what we needed to see? Show us a couple highlights of the Street Profits for the people that haven't seen them wrestle yet, and hype them up and make this the main event of the Raw after WrestleMania. Done.
Yeah, I agree with that. But the thing is, there's too many championships for their own good. And I understand they have a huge roster. But on the other hand, not everybody has to have a belt to get over. You know, you need a champ, you need a top champ, you need a middle card champion, and you need a set of tag team champions. And I think the same thing. And I think the women's roster is big enough to warrant that too. You know, the top champion, middle card champion, and tag team champion, and that's it. And those are the titles that get defended at WrestleMania. You know, we don't need 2 tag team championship matches or 2 male tag team championships. So 3 really, because then you got the women's one. We just one. one tag team championship match, one intercontinental. Get the U.S. title. I understand the history. Don't need it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And the Universal Championship is just that's a failed experiment as far as I'm concerned. But we will get there.
Yep. All right. Well, speaking of tag team championships, we now have the SmackDown Tag Team Championship ladder match. And it's a three-way. Hooray. In one corner, you've got The Miz and John Morrison, who are the current belt holders. You also have The New Day. No word on which two, presumably, will be involved there. And you have the Usos. I mean, that's...
I believe it's Kofi and Big E. I think Xavier Woods is out on some sort of leave.
Okay.
Right. I believe it's Kofi and Big E.
I mean, you've got phenomenal workers everywhere, and it's a ladder match. So I would presume that this is going to be good. I get that it's sports entertainment. I've just never liked the idea, even in entertainment, of taking a championship. And man, are we going to get to this later with one of the ladies' belts? I don't like the idea of just taking a championship and being like, all right, well, you're the champion, and you're going to fight these 3, 4, 5, 6 other people to retain your championship. It's like, I get that kayfabe is a thing of the past, but holy cow, like, you wouldn't see this anywhere else.
No, it's true. And the original concept of a triple threat match actually didn't come from, it wasn't invented in WWE or F. It was invented, I believe, if I got my facts straight here, it was Smoky Mountain Wrestling. It was a Jim Cornette concept. Okay. He came up with it. And the only and it was meant to be used very, very sparingly. He had a feud. He had a feud between 3 guys, 2 of which were heels. One was a babyface. One of the heels was a tweener that was kind of leaning towards becoming a babyface. And they had a big triple threat blow-off match for the title. And the original concept of a triple threat was everybody had to be beat. You didn't pin one guy and win the title. You had to pin one guy and he was eliminated, and then you had to pin the other guy. Or one guy had to, you know what I mean? One guy had to pin one guy, and then the last 2 had to duke it out for the finish.
Mm-hmm.
I never liked the concept of triple threat. That you don't have to be pinned by the champion. I mean, it's kind of moot here because it's a ladder match, so they got to get up to the top of the ladder and take the belts down. So, but I do understand the concept of a triple threat match the reason they brought it into WWE and used it that, even if this guy pins, even if the non-champion is pinned, the championship still changes hands. It was a way to get the belt off of a champion without beating the champion, without beating the guy.
Right.
So you didn't necessarily run into a situation like we're going to talk about later with the Universal Championship. But as far as this match goes, I know you're throwing the Miz and John Morrison in, and they're very talented guys, but I have seen the New Day and the Usos 8 billion times. And we were just talking about how the WWE has so many people on their roster. How many times do I have to see the Usos versus the New Day? It's getting to be too much, man. And I think for that reason that the Miz and John Morrison will retain. If the WWE has any sort of sense of playing things out and overdoing things, they will know to leave it on Miz and John Morrison to fight another day and maybe give another tag team a shot down the line somewhere.
I like that too, actually. I like the Miz and Morrison. I don't know what to make of this because I feel like the New Day and the Usos cancel each other out. Miz and Morrison, they're being billed as the heels here, which is weird to me because the Miz was a heel forever, and then going into last year, they turned him face. Now they're making him a heel again with Morrison. They're obviously confused with what to do with the character, but the main reason I'm picking the Miz and Morrison is from what I said earlier. I think that this is the WrestleMania where Vince McMahon is going to take all the goodwill he got last year and just spit on it. So I think this is going to be a heel WrestleMania. So I'm picking the heels here.
Okay, that's his sound. When it comes to what WWE creative is going to do, that's his, any explanation is just as sound as the next. So, well, at least hopefully it'll be fun and entertaining. But I hope they keep it on Miz and John Morrison.
All right, moving on. It's time for the Intercontinental Championship. Sami Zayn, the champion, versus Daniel Bryan.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about this. I'm still pissed that they had Sami Zayn pin Braun Strowman for the title. Like, talk about burying one of your monsters.
I know, and honestly, until he was named as the replacement for Roman Reigns, my pick for this would have been Braun Strowman coming in and just ruining everybody and walking out with the title.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is, and I know we're skipping ahead to the Universal title thing, but you just had Sami Zayn bury Braun Strowman, and now Braun Strowman is contending for the top title.
Yeah.
When he just got beaten by somebody 300 pounds lighter than him for the mid-card title? That doesn't make any sense. But as far as this match goes, I don't think that you do any... Sami Zayn has been middling for so long. They haven't known what to do with him. He's actually a fantastic heel. He's so good as a heel.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
The way he actually seems to generate some legitimate heat, which is a rare thing nowadays because kayfabe's gone, so everybody knows it's just a show. But he seems to be able to actually get people to legitimately dislike him, and that's I got a lot of respect for that. And I think the smart thing for them to do is to keep the belt on him here. Daniel Bryan does not need any more belts to be over. He's Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
He's had the unified championship, the World's Heavyweight Championship, along with the WWE Championship unified. He's had the WWE Championship again with the whole heel run he had. I just don't see him needing this, and I don't see him. He's still over, but he's not mega over like he was when he was at his peak, and I just don't see any reason why they need to make a change here. So I'm going with Zayn.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's smart to continue building the quote legend of Sami Zayn, so it doesn't make too much sense to take the belt off him at this point.
Yeah, and it's another guy like Lashley. Brian's a guy like Lashley, where
right.
You got so much cred, it's going to do a lot for Zayn to go over him. It's going to really catapult Zayn in a positive way. So that's where I'm going. That's my prediction.
All right. So then we have just a singles match. Wow. Simple.
Wow.
I know. There's no championships, no anything else. It's just two guys that someone decided they want to see wrestle each other. I'm sorry. Yeah. Two guys that someone decided they want to see sports entertain each other. Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins.
Certainly going to be a solid match. Both of these guys work very well. I've got a problem with Kevin Owens. They've really tried to smash this guy over as a face.
Mm-hmm.
The whole Stone Cold Stunner thing, the whole like he's just over the top, and they have him calling out WWE management, and it's just so artificial and it's so contrived. And Rollins is not a very good heel. He is just not good at it, man.
No.
He just comes off as whiny and pretentious, but not in the way that he should as a heel. It just blah. So I'm really excited to see the work of this match. I just wish that I could be more excited about the feud. But it's what the wrong guy is the baby face and the wrong guy is the heel. They both play the opposite thing much better.
Yeah.
But I look, Owens has got to go over in this one.
Agreed.
He's been on the bench for so long, and he's yet to rack up a really big victory for his sort of comeback. And Rollins has been in the main event picture for so long now that I think he could take the loss and it won't really do much to him. So I'm going with Kevin Owens.
I agree. Kevin Owens for the win. Moving on. All right. This one makes me angry on so many levels. We're going to have to break this one down a little bit. You've got the SmackDown Women's Championship. You got Bayley, the champion, versus Sasha Banks, versus Naomi, versus Lacey Evans, versus Tamina. It is a fatal 5-way. Blind me, Lord. Blind me. Like, I understand. I understand that we are in the era of sports entertainment, and we have been for most of my adult life. But where else would anyone get away, even in a fictional world, even in the world of movies where, there ain't no rule that says the dog can't play basketball and all that BS, would anyone get away with saying, all right, you're the champion, and here are 4 other people trying to take it from you. It's a fatal 5-way elimination match. And I don't...
Well, at least it's an elimination match, right? At least it's not like Lacey Evans pins Naomi and then she's the champion now,
Heel
you
Bayley.
hate heel.
Oh, man. Yeah. And here's the thing. She's not good at playing a heel. She was never really good at playing angry. She always looked like she was going to cry. I love her character. I believe in my heart of hearts what happened here is that WWE realized that they made a mistake not turning Cena heel circa, 2010, 2011 during the whole Nexus showdown, or on the heels of that, no pun intended. And they realized that Bayley was getting stale about 2 or 3 years too late, but give them credit, they realized she was getting stale, and they felt like now was the time to turn her heel. It just, like, in a world where we know everything about these wrestlers, in a world where we know that this was a girl that, like, geeked out over Matt Hardy and wanted nothing more than to be a WWE wrestler and, just wanted to give back to kids the whole time. It's been false the whole time. It is always read as false. Like, the fans are not that stupid. It doesn't work. All right, so that's my rant on heel Bayley. Now you've got heel Bayley versus everybody else in this, everybody that hasn't been used somewhere else in this fatal 5-way elimination match. I don't know. Save me. Say something that's going to make me want to watch this. Like,
I can't say anything to make you want to watch this because I think it's going to be. I just think it's going to be insanity from the beginning. These 5-way matches don't work. They're no good. They're always garbage. They're not. Just a singles match for the title, please. I mean, you distract it with so much. There's so much crap going on at the same time. But I see what you're saying about heel Bayley too. She's not a natural heel. She doesn't play it well. I understand that they had to do it to freshen her up, but they didn't necessarily need to leave her there that long. What they should have done with her was shoot her over to being a heel, and then sort of try to transition her back into being sort of a badass face. Somebody that's like, you know what, I've been nice and straight too long. I got to take matters into my own hands, kind of thing. Because I think that would have worked a little bit better, where she could be sympathetic, as opposed to just stone cold bitch, which she's not. This match, though, I'm only going to say this because it's Vince McMahon. He wants to put the belt on Naomi. Everybody got mad that he took it off of Kofi Kingston, and Vince McMahon, I will venture to say, thinks that all black people are the same person. I'm sorry. I don't think that there's a racially sensitive bone in Vince McMahon's body. He's like, look, I could have I could have a big old match, and I could have another black person overcome adversity and walk out as the champion. That's what's happening.
All right,
I'd be almost willing to bet all of my money that Naomi's walking out with the belt because everybody got mad at him for having Lesnar take it off of Kofi. I'm sorry. That's just the way I feel about the man.
So your pick is Naomi.
My pick is Naomi because Vince McMahon is trying to show that he has white guilt. Yes.
You know, for a very similar reason, my initial pick looking at this was Sasha Banks. And then I remembered that when he took the belt off of Bayley and Sasha Banks, they both apparently went back to their hotel room and cried forever, the tag championship. And Sasha Banks basically threw a hissy fit for a while, left the company. She eventually came back, and maybe you could put the belt on her to reward her. I don't know. Naomi does seem like an obvious choice here. I'm going to go way outside the box, though, in my pick here. Because, again, I think this is the WrestleMania where they're going to pay us back for last year in spades, and they're going to, down the line, just upset everybody. I'm calling Lacey Evans as the new SmackDown Women's Champion. And here's how I think this is going to go down, because we're going to talk in a little bit about the Raw Championship. I think that some of the most intriguing work I saw recently from over the past year or so from Becky Lynch was during her feud with Lacey Evans. I think after this, they move Becky Lynch to SmackDown, and she gets to challenge Lacey Evans over there. So I'm calling Lacey Evans.
All right,
in some type of a messed up finish. You know, she's not going to win clean, but
and I don't know why they bother putting Tamina in matches anymore. This has got to stop. It's just got to stop. Tamina's never getting a meaningful push ever again. You got to if you're going to put her in matches, you have to put her in lower card matches. You can't put her in a championship match. We know that Tamina is not winning the championship.
The only way this match gets a 5-star from me is if there's a surprise 6th entrant and it's Brock Lesnar with a bow.
Yeah. Yep, Brock Lesnar is going to be wearing a bow. He's going to come in, and he's going to be our new SmackDown Women's Champion. That's how these are all going to end, folks. Brock Lesnar is going to walk away with every major title before the nights are over.
All right. So speaking of women's championship matches that I just don't understand the logic behind, the NXT Women's Championship, you've got Rhea Ripley, the champion, versus Charlotte Flair.
Because Charlotte Flair must be in a match for a belt at all times. I think that's in Ric Flair's Legends contract, actually. And I don't know if anybody at home is laughing at that remark because they're not sure whether or not that's true.
I see a real twisted, sick Vince McMahon logic here. And it's the only thing that makes sense to me. But first of all, let's talk about the NXT Women's Champion challenging Charlotte Flair. And again, I get it, sports entertainment, but the logic that we're meant to believe here is that Charlotte Flair has never held the NXT Women's Championship, so she must have it. And that barb is enough to draw her into a match for a championship that is supposedly below her pedigree and where she is. This would be akin to, if the Lakers win the title, some 8th grade kid standing up and telling LeBron, yeah, but your 8th grade team didn't win a championship, and LeBron being like, let's go.
You know what? I don't know exactly. There's so much that goes into this that you kind of have to wonder where the logic is coming from. And it leaves a lot of questions. Like, are they trying to catapult NXT into being an equal brand with Raw and SmackDown?
Bingo.
And if they are, well, then what is going to be your quote unquote developmental territory?
You know what? I think they're going to figure that out later. I will. I would put all the money in my wallet, not in my bank account, but all the money in my wallet on the table right now, and bet you that is what we are heading towards. We are headed towards a 3-headed monster in WWE, and there is one reason for that, and one reason only, and can you guess it?
My guess is that it's AEW.
Amen, brother. Amen.
I mean, NXT can't beat AEW in the ratings right now, and I think they want to pull NXT up to get it the exposure they need to get. They're not getting the people who watch Raw and SmackDown to watch NXT.
Mm-hmm.
If you put the belt on Charlotte Flair, people who watch Raw and SmackDown are going to start watching NXT, and it might give it the ratings boost that it needs to get up to the level of or exceed the level of AEW.
And I think you're going to see more and more of this. They've already done it with Finn Balor. I believe they're going to do it with Charlotte. I believe they're going to do it with Charlotte Flair. The only way Charlotte Flair drops this match is some type of bizarre, shady finish. Like, there's no way that Charlotte Flair loses clean to Rhea Ripley. Nothing against Rhea Ripley, great, talented performer and everything, but that's just not the mystique that we've built up around Charlotte Flair. Not going to happen.
Yeah. People are going to tune in every... Rhea Ripley is fantastic, by the way. And I think having her lose here is what they want to do, because they want to put it on Charlotte Flair, because they're going to want to see a comeback match where Rhea Ripley gets revenge on Charlotte. But that you could drag that out all the way to SummerSlam, and every week you're going to have people tuning in to see that feud. See that, and you're trying to draw away from AEW viewership, or at least AEW's viewership is nowhere near what Raw and SmackDown are.
Right.
So I don't know that they're necessarily trying to wrangle people away from AEW to NXT as much as they're just trying to get their entire audience to watch all 3 of their programs.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they could do that, then AEW will just never be able to touch those numbers. So, not that the WWE numbers are very good. I mean, less people are watching wrestling now than have ever watched it before.
Well, in your television numbers, but I do think the network has a lot to do with that too. I mean, I don't watch any of it live. You know, I don't have the time for that. I get up early in the morning.
Yeah, I know, but the network does. But even if you factor in network subscriptions and you factor in all of that, and just the attendance of the live shows. But I think that this is strictly a move. They're going to put it on Charlotte, and they're going to put it on Charlotte because they want Charlotte on NXT television every week to try and combat the fact that AEW has been beating NXT consistently.
Well, just like real Wrestlemania, we're going a little long here, so I think it's best for us to split this up. We're going to do a part 1 and a part 2. That's the end of part 1. We'll cheers and pour one out when we're all the way done with our WrestleMania card predictions. So we'll see you in part 2. Until then, cheers, everybody.
Cheers, folks.